Thank you for listening to a nighttime adventure bedtime story from nighttimeadventures.com. Visit our website to view hundreds of exciting bedtime stories for children of all ages.
The Nighttime Adventures of Max, the Dream Express. Max was an ordinary boy by day, but at night, when he fell asleep, his dreams would take him on extraordinary adventures. With each night's journey, Max explored new worlds and discovered magical powers he never knew he possessed. As Max snuggled under his cozy quilt and rested his head on his favorite pillow, he eagerly anticipated what the night would hold. As Max drifted off to sleep, the air around him began to change, and a delightful aroma of coal, oil, and metal filled his senses. A gentle rumbling sound resonated in the distance, getting louder and more rhythmic as Max was swept into his dream world. He opened his eyes to find himself inside the engine room of a grand locomotive, full of shiny brass fittings and magnificent iron gears. Max looked down at his outfit and noticed that he was dressed as a locomotive engineer. He wore striped overalls, a crisp white shirt, a red bandana, and a jaunty hat. In his hands, he held a gleaming gold pocket watch that seemed to tick in time with the beat of his heart. Max couldn't believe his eyes. He had always been fascinated by trains, and now he was going to be the one to drive one. The great locomotive stood in a majestic train station, with a high vaulted ceiling and tall stained glass windows. Sunlight danced through the colorful panes, casting a kaleidoscope of patterns on the marble floor. The train itself was a marvel of engineering, with its sleek black body and the words Dream Express emblazoned in gold lettering on its side. Max stepped outside and took a deep breath. The air was crisp and fresh, filled with the excitement of the adventure ahead. People waved and cheered as Max climbed aboard the locomotive. He felt like a hero as he greeted each passenger and helped them find their seats in the luxurious train cars. As the last passenger boarded, Max heard a voice say, "All aboard!" It was Mr. Whistle, the kindly conductor. His warm smile and twinkling eyes made Max feel right at home. "Time to depart, young engineer," he said, handing Max a map. "This is the Dreamland route. It will take you through wondrous lands and magical places. Are you ready?" Max nodded, his heart pounding with anticipation. He took his place in the engine room and grasped the throttle, feeling a surge of power as the great locomotive roared to life. The wheels began to turn, and the train slowly pulled out of the station, gaining speed as it disappeared into the horizon. As Max guided the Dream Express through the countryside, he marveled at the landscape before him. They passed lush meadows filled with wildflowers, where unicorns grazed gracefully. Majestic mountains towered overhead, their peaks kissed by the sun, as dragons soared high above, their scales shimmering like jewels. Max then drove the locomotive through a dense and mysterious forest, where the air was cool, and the trees whispered ancient secrets. It was a place where friendly gnomes and mischievous pixies played hide and seek among the leaves, and wise talking animals shared their knowledge with those who listened. Suddenly, a tiny green creature appeared at Max's side. It was the Loco Imp, the magical train's mischievous helper. The Loco Imp's job was to make sure the Dream Express was on the right track, but it couldn't resist having a little fun along the way. It grinned at Max and waved its tiny wand. With a burst of golden sparks, Max felt his locomotive grow wings. Max couldn't believe it! The Dream Express was now a magnificent flying train. The powerful wings carried them high above the treetops and clouds, giving Max a breathtaking view of the world below. The passengers gasped in amazement as the train soared through the sky like a great metal bird. Max grinned as he steered the locomotive, feeling the wind rush through his hair and the power of the train's beating wings beneath his feet. As they flew higher, they entered the enchanting kingdom of clouds. The soft, fluffy clouds formed an endless maze, concealing hidden treasures and friendly cloud creatures. Max navigated the Dream Express through the winding, cotton-like corridors, careful not to disturb the cloud dwellers. The train flew past a magnificent castle, built entirely of cloud and rainbows, where the wise King Nimbus and the beautiful Queen Cirrus ruled the skies. Their court was filled with graceful cloud dancers and minstrels who sang haunting melodies that seemed to float on the wind. The Loco Imp playfully hopped from one cloud to another, leading Max to the most extraordinary sights, a majestic waterfall cascading down from the sky and a market where merchants sold shimmering stardust, moonbeams, and other magical treasures. After hours of wondrous exploration, the Dream Express began to descend, leaving the kingdom of clouds behind. The wings disappeared, and the locomotive gently touched down on the tracks below. Ahead, Max could see a charming little town nestled by the sea, where their journey would end for the night. As the train approached the town, the cheerful sounds of laughter and music filled the air. The town's lantern-lit streets were filled with vibrant colors and a joyous atmosphere, welcoming the Dream Express with open arms. Max and the passengers disembarked, and they were immediately embraced by the kind-hearted townspeople. The town's mayor, a jolly man with a bushy mustache, held a grand feast in honor of Max and the Dream Express. The table groaned under the weight of delicious treats and mouth-watering dishes from every corner of the dream world. Max and his newfound friends danced, sang, and feasted late into the night, celebrating their remarkable journey. As the night wore on, Max began to feel the familiar tug of his waking world. He glanced at his pocket watch, which had begun to chime softly, reminding him that his adventure was nearing its end. Max looked around at the smiling faces of his friends and knew that he would never forget the magical journey he had taken on the Dream Express. The time had come for Max to return to his bed. He said his goodbyes, hugging the loco imp, Mr. Whistle, and each of his friends tightly. With a heavy heart, Max boarded the Dream Express one last time, and it began to pick up speed. As the train sped along the tracks, the world around Max grew blurry, and the colors began to fade. The whistle of the Dream Express grew fainter, and the comforting smell of coal and oil seemed to dissipate. The familiar tug of his waking world grew stronger, and Max closed his eyes, feeling the gentle pull of reality. When Max opened his eyes again, he found himself back in his cozy bed, sunlight streaming through his bedroom window. The pocket watch had disappeared, replaced by his faithful teddy bear. As Max hugged his bear, he knew that his time on the Dream Express was more than just a dream, but a memory he would cherish forever. And he couldn't wait for his next bedtime adventure, as he knew that the world of dreams had so much more in store for him.